Okay, welcome back everybody. This is the part 2 of my play on the lapbook. I'm using it for a travel journal cover because I can put 1 and 2 inserts in here. You can use it for junk journal cover, whatever you want. It's kind of universal. It works for anything. So here's the one I made. There's a video up of it along with the first part, which was where we're at now, which is having the folder itself done. I wanted to give a little bit of a overview of it like this because a friend of mine had a message this morning. She had taken this and kind of flipped it so it wasn't folded right at that point. I guess looking at that in hindsight, it may be better if we didn't put the tape. I'm using a Tyvek's envelope here to strengthen your seams until it's all put together and you know that it's in the shape you want it to be. Last night I went through and put a piece of file folder just over the seam, over the Tyvek's, because this stuff, okay, it takes ink, but it doesn't look like the folder itself. It's white, not brown. I don't know. Whatever. I went through and distressed all my edges all the way around. I had originally said I was going to do this with you. However, I cannot make up my mind on how I want to, I guess, decorate it. So none of my panels have anything on them other than file folder and distress the edges. I haven't done any of the fabric. I haven't done paper because I just don't know what I want yet. So we're going to make believe like I am doing this with you. Here is this side flap that we made. Something I thought I was going to do last night, but I didn't. I changed my mind. This was our initially 5 inches all the way across here. I took this side and I folded it down about 1/4 of an inch. What I was going to do was take another piece and seam it up with the back like that, so that this whole thing became a big pocket. I was only going to glue this on in 3 sides. My thought was I was going to make it where this came over, cut it, you know, about that far over, so that this flap became kind of like the closure to it. But like most things, I've changed my mind. So moving on. That is something you can do though. Okay, so here is the, I'll call this the inside. This is the one with only the 1/4 inch here. If you notice, I put some ribbon there because I messed up. When I glued the 2 file folders together, I thought I had the seam where I liked it, but I didn't. So I took it back apart after the glue had started to set. So it kind of tore and just didn't look very good. So I just put some ribbon over it and call it good. So let's work on this pocket here first, okay? If I could find, here we'll go with this. So with this, all of these pockets go all the way down here to the bottom. So you can put very long tags in here if you wanted, or journaling cards. So I am going to show you how I did that, and I have already kind of cheated and cut some of this stuff for us so we weren't stuck here forever watching me cut and talk. However, since this is take 2, I can't necessarily find all the things I originally had. Okay, so what I did was I created a back piece for it. This is the part that will get glued down. And I gave it a little bit of a gap on each side. It's about 4 inches. I took another long piece. I marked down the sides for 4 inches across. Then down that side, I went through and every inch I left a mark. Okay, so the first cut I did, I went to the very top. I drew a line from the very top down to my first 1 inch mark, so that this is dropping about 1 inch. Then I skipped one line, came down to the next one, drew a line from there, skipping that line to this line to make another one. Then I just cut along those lines. And here's why I did that. We got pieces like this that are going to just simply kind of fold around the back. You would glue here, here, and I just put a small piece of glue here. So that makes one pocket. So your piece of paper would go in here and down to the bottom. The thing I really try to avoid with this is putting a whole lot of paper bulk in it. So what I did was on all those little pieces I got right here was on the side, I folded right here where that 1 inch mark was, I cut in. Then, here, flip it this way, maybe you can see a little bit. I cut just a little bit off the side going up to that fold line. Okay, so that once this is glued on, this piece would actually slide down in here, stopping about that 1 inch mark, and then these little flaps would be glued behind. You could do them where there's more than 1 inch between each one. You could do it where there's less if you want more pockets. I don't know, that was just kind of the number I made up in my head, and it's really kind of hard to flip those over with them not being glued down. So they just kind of slide in like that on top of each other. I do not glue the bottom of them, I'm only gluing these little flaps. So I guess it's almost like we're making fake pockets, because inside here it's not separated for every single pocket. However, when you put something in, it is going to keep it separated by this top. So that is how I made this one. And as you can see, this one was a book page that I just glued on top, some fabric that's glued there, book page, and that same fabric. I actually went through, and once I am done with this piece, I would sew anything I want sewn, and then I just put some glue and glue it down on there. If you're gonna sew it, that's kind of how I would do it. You may, want to sew across the top and the bottom while it's glued on so it looks like it was all in one piece. Some of the times when I hit a situation where I had already put something on the back and I needed to sew on the actual cover itself, but I didn't want the stitches to go through, I would make another piece that was the same 5 inches as my panel here, do all my sewing, and then glue that entire panel on here. So we have covered this one. The next pocket we're going to do is this one. This one I actually only glued down on 3 sides so that the top was kind of a hidden pocket. I'm not sure how much that'll ever get used, but I guess with this I'm going with the mindset that there's no such thing as too many pockets. So here we're going to walk through how we did this one. Okay, so I started off with the piece here, which I believe is the full 5 inches. No, okay, it's about 4 3/4, but it is the full 9 inches tall. Well, off by a little bit, but whatever, we're going to call it 9 inches tall. So that was 4 3/4. These side panels are about 4 and about 4. So what they'll do is when this gets glued down, this one will flop over, this one will flop over. Don't you like my technical words? Hey? I did have all this stuff nicely kind of organized where every piece was going to go. But that was on my first video. This is now the second one I'm trying to record, so nope, they're not nice and neat anymore. This will help to show you how you can easily add in pages. What I've done is, this one's 3.5 inches wide, about a 1/2 inch tab. Just fold over your tab, your seam. And then what I like to do is come right over to where this seam is, where this fold line is, glue this part down, okay? So for right now, we're only gonna put glue here. Glue that down, okay? If you didn't want to make this a pocket on its own, at this point, you could put pockets here. You could put pockets here. What you're creating is another page in here. But for what I did was I glued this part down. I put some glue here, and then glued those two panels together so that this became a pocket right here. For the outside one, and you can swap it up and do that on the inside one or the outside one, however you want to. But for the outside one, I did not put any tab, fold, whatever, there's some word, but I can't think of it right now. I did not put that on there. So this is just a 3/4 inch wide piece. I would glue here, here, and here. The reason that I didn't do that, I left that one the way I did, was so that this fold didn't become extremely thick. So when that folds over, that part would be done. This one would come over on top of it. Now, and the reason I put these on the inside is I'm going to kind of cover them up here in a minute. So same thing. On this side, I would glue that piece down, making sure it folds over. Put some glue here, and then take one and glue it on the outside. Plus, this helps to cover up any of my Tyveks that might still be showing. Now, here is why I put these on the inside, to cover them up. So these will be here, and they would still show. But on this one, I just made this a solid piece. This one I decided to do a little bit differently. And I cut a piece that would fit in here with a little bit of a gap. So this one, I believe, was 4 inches. No, yeah, 4 and about 3/4. This one is about 4.5. So if this was here and this one was here, this would come up and sit right in the middle of these two. If I had this one distressed along that edge, you would probably never see it. So that's going to sit there. And then I originally thought I was going to do this with this spring-ish scrapbook paper. However, I kind of changed my mind. I don't know what I'm doing. So that would be a pocket and that would be a pocket. So when that all went in there, that extra support would be hidden. And that was kind of my point behind it, is that I want this to look as much like one solid piece as possible. I don't want to see all the seams. So it looks something like that. Okay, so that is this centerpiece. As you can see here, when I did this outside pocket, I used fabric. And the sewing on there was really just for cosmetic reason, but I went ahead and left just a little bit of a gap between the file folder and the pocket. So when I sewed over it, one, I didn't have to be as precise. I didn't have to worry that it was perfect. Two, I don't know, I just thought it kind of made it look cool. And I like the way that with this one, I left some of the file folder actually showing instead of trying to cover all of it. So that is that pocket. Now we are going to move on to flipping it back over to the front. This is the side I call the front with the